Hi guys, I'm Jake. I'm a 3D artist and level designer here at Dubit, and today I want to show you how you can make your own obbies. If you don't know what obbies are, they are popular games that typically have a lot of parkour and puzzle gameplay. So we're going to go through a lot of obstacles and a little bit of designing for your own obby. I'll be mainly focusing in on the obstacles and some logic such as doors and switches to get you through from point A to point B. We will just have a quick run through of this so I can show you what we will be doing. So we've got a gate, we've got some swinging axes, quick little jump over here, got some moving platforms here, just a quick jump across them. We've got some crushing pillars. Don't know if I'm going to make this. It's close. And these ones, disappearing platforms. Quite far on these jumps. And over here, we have a dart shooter. We can jump right into the basic part of opening the first door. So what we have here is two parts. We've got a frame, we've got the door, and we've got a node and a pressure plate. And that is it. This is all you will need. So what I'm going to do is go over here and I'll show you how we can get started. So first of all, we want to find our blocks for what we want to create our door with. So let's find doors and openings. There we go. This is one I used. Maybe let's use some different stuff. Let's see what we got. Page 1, page 2. Let's go with this one. So we can just place that here. Rotate this around. Let's move that where we want. Yeah, that looks good. Oh, bit over the edge of that. Let's move that. We can move all these around later on as well. Then we find a door. So let's come back into assets and let's search door. These are a bit too space age for this look. So let's actually go back to packs, and I was going with canyon. But we have quite a few things from here. So let's go back to doors and openings. So anything here? We have a gate. That's what I used over there, so we'll use that one again. And again, just rotate this one. Ooh. If you want to slow down your movement speed, you can press Control and scroll down, and there we go. So I'm doing that on the fly, and just helps us do opposites. And then I can press F to zoom into the tag I'm looking at. So, I've accidentally jumped clip. Made a mistake there. And that is our gate. Oh, didn't need to do that. There we go. So now we have a gate. Can't pass through it. Walk around the sides, but we can fill that in with a seat there. And how we want to open this is with, in this example, I'm going to be using the pressure plate. So I'm just going to type in pressure. We have a few options here. These ones don't actually have any nodes attached to them, so these you would have to set up yourself. But they have different designs, so just for example this one. But for now, I'm just going to show you the simple one, which already comes with some nodes attached, which is on step on and on step off. So all we want to do here is actually move this gate up or down. So I'm going to go back to assets and search move, and I'm going to use this move node here. Just place this anywhere. And here, just move this down. We have a few options. We have act on, event on started, on stopped, on finished, on reversed, start, and stop. So if we click on this little symbol at the top, we get some options. And here's our translation. So this is what we will have the action perform on the object we want it to do it on. Here we have our axes. So top one will be X and Y, then Z. Z is your up and down, not Y. And we want this to go up or down. So X, Y, Z. Click on here, and then let's pick a number. For now, let's say 10. Let's see. And then what we want to do now is click this act on, drag this to the gate itself, and it's highlighted there. And then we need this to actually work. And to start this is where the pressure plate comes in. So we do on, step on, so when the player steps onto the pressure plate, we click on this, drag this up to start, boom. That's it. So if we test from camera, can't see those nodes anymore, but we've got my pressure plate on that gate here. So if I just jump on this. Okay, that was a bit far, but it worked. Step off of it, it doesn't do anything because we didn't set that up. So that was too far, so we come back in here, change that. I actually want it to go down, so I'm going to type in minus, not 10, that was too far. Let's do minus 5. Let's see what that does. And just make sure it's test from camera. Test again. And then we jump back on this pressure plate. Alright, so let's move on to these swinging axles. I have these set up to turn on when I stand on this pressure plate. They swing, and they kill the player if they touch them. Very simple. So these are set up in a very simple way. It's using a rotate node, similar to the move node, except it rotates. All that is doing is hooking up to these axes and swinging them from left to right. And we have it turned on, like I said, with this pressure plate, but there is another way we can do that as well. Okay, so let's get into actually creating these swinging axes. So I've just brought over the platform, some bridges, and here's my axe. You can do this with any part you want, you don't need an axe. But what we do want is a rotate node, so you can just search for this in the browser. So I'm just going to grab this, and move it over here, and we want to rotate it like so, on the x-axis. Red is typically X, so what we're going to do is change this number over here, 180 degrees to make it go to the other side. Let's have a look at our other settings here. We don't need to change anything else. Duration, let's change this to 2 seconds. We probably don't want to use world space here, we want to use local space. So this, the rotation from the axis of this point, of this axe. We want to change the easing mode to potentially ease in, ease out. This is up to you. You can test these out and see which one works for you. And we want to change the loop to ping pong. This means it'll move back and forth. If you set it to no loop, it'll just do it once and it'll stop. Restart will go once and then back and then it'll stop. So ping pong means it'll go forever. And we want to start this node with something called on start node. This on start node. Yeah. So this means when the game starts, this function will start. So we just hook that up into the start, and then this will work. We're not ready to hook this up to the axe just yet. What we need is a way for it to actually damage the player when it hits. So we can get a damage volume. Oh, let's actually just search volume instead. Box damage volume. So we can bring that over here. And if you click on this, you can see there's some blue arrows. If you hover over them, they turn red, and if you grab them, you can move them. That's scaling up the box in which the player interacts with. We're just going to make sure this covers, make it a little bit larger so it fully detects the player. We can adjust this at any point in the future. But now we have this large box, and if the player stands inside that box, we can change some settings here. So do you want it to just damage the player? Or do you want to kill it instantly? And I want it to kill instantly. So now, this is ready to be grouped together. So we just click on the box, control left click on the axe, and then we can left control and group. And now they're grouped together. So if we rotate this, we move together. And now, we connect this to that. We'll just test from here. We have a swinging axe. If we want more of these, all we have to do is grab and duplicate. Control and D, you can duplicate quickly. We'll grab these over here. There we go. If we want one going the other way, we can just rotate it around. However, this can affect the rotation. So let's first hook these groups back up again. And just test this out quick. It's working perfectly. There we go. And if we were to get hit by one, it would kill us. And take us back to my spawn point. So there we go. That's how you do axes. Easy enough. And then what you could do, you could group all these together, or just one of them. Let's just select these and group these up. So now we have a group. And this will swing this axe. And if you want more axes, typically you want to ungroup it and move it again, so you don't have loads of nodes flying around. But you have a stamp right there. So here we're going to be looking at these moving platforms. I'm just going to quickly go over these ones because they're actually set up quite similar to how you do these rotating axes. But instead of rotating nodes, we use move nodes. So as you can see here, very simple. We have an on-start node connecting to these starts on these move nodes, which is then connected to the platform of our choice. It can be whatever you want. You choose whatever translation you want it to be. For now, I have 25 because that's just where I have it. I have it set up to ping pong, so it goes back and forth, and I have it on linear. So all I have connected on, connect this to that, and this moves from left to right. This one, I want moving from right to left, so I have another move node, which is the exact same setup, except the translation, which is a minus 25. So it's going right to left, this one's on left to right. And I just connect them up. And it's as simple as that. So moving on to something a little bit more complicated. Still using the same nodes we've been using before, with one extra addition. But all it is a big block. It comes down and crushes. And then goes back up. It waits. It vibrates to show it's coming down. And then it comes down. So, let me show you how that's set up. So here, we have some move nodes. This one controls it going down, this one goes up, and then this one controls the vibrate. And in between we have some delays. This dictates the difference between moving up, moving down, and we can control how long it stays in one position for before moving on to the next. I'm just going to group this quick. I'm going to steal these two parts and move them over here, just out of the way. This one's actually still got something attached to it. This is a simple volume. Let's just grab this. Can't actually seem to grab it, let's just go beside here. So this is another volume. I've just got it set up. So when the player walks inside this, it kills them instantly. This is a damage volume, box damage volume. I'm just going to connect them back again so we have that set up. So what we want is a move node to move it up and move it down. So what we actually want is to move this just out of the way. This is our down node, and then I'm just going to move the up node just over here, and then let's just connect these up there so they're ready. So this is our down node. So our translation, we've got X, Y, and Z. This is down. I'm going to put minus 10. Ooh, that's minus 100. Let's just get rid of one of them. And we have an up of 10. So we have an equal, it'll go back to where it starts. If it moves down 10, it's going to go back 10 to its starting position. I'm just going to grab this, okay, so we can actually see what it's doing. And we need an on start node. Need a space thing. Put that here, move that over there. On start, start. Actually, don't want to start yet. So we're just going to test this, make sure that one works. As you can see, it's already done its action. For now, we'll leave that where it is. So, we actually want this to go back up once it hits the ground after a certain amount of time. We could select on finished, start this, but that would start the moving up function as soon as this one hits the ground, and we don't want it to do that, we want it to wave it. So what we use is a delay. Let's just grab this delay node, just grab it, move it over here, and inside here This is our time in seconds. So let's have it on the ground for 1.5 seconds, and that's it. So we will have on finished, start the delay, it starts counting. I'm just going to put this over here a bit. And once that delay is finished, we want it to start this function, which is moving up. Let's play. Let's see how that works. It actually starts the function as soon as I press play, so you didn't actually catch that. But it's moved back up to its previous position as before. It went down and then it went back up again. So we want it to go back down again once it hits the top, but with a delay. So we're just going to duplicate this with Control and D, bring that over here. Let's actually change this to 2.5 seconds, so it stays at the top for longer. And from here, on finished, activate. And then when this timer finishes, we want it to restart this. So now we have a loop. It starts here, it goes down, it finishes, and then it activates this delay for 1.5 seconds, and then it moves over to this to allow the block to go up, and then when that one finishes, it starts this delay of 2.5 seconds, and when that finishes, it starts this, and we have a loop. So in a game, we want to show the player that something is going to happen, and right now with this moving block, we don't. We just see it go up and we go down. We can't indicate to the player that it's going to come back down in a second. But we can if we add a little bit of vibrate. So we can do that with a move node. We just grab one of these, and then we can adjust all of these settings to something quite minute to make it look like it's vibrating. Let's change it to 0.2. 0.2 for all of these. Do the duration of 0.2 as well. And then we set the loop to ping pong, so it just does it while we want it to do it. And we actually want this to do it when it gets to the top, but not straight away. We want it to start when it's about to come down. So what we can do is grab another delay, just duplicate one of these. So that was 2.5 seconds. So let's actually do it to, after 1.5 seconds. So it leaves 1 second of vibration before it starts to fall. So when this finishes, we want it to start this delay of 1.5 seconds. And then when this finishes, we can start the vibrate function. When do we want this to stop? We want this to stop when it actually hits the ground. So when this finishes, this is the one that moves down. On finished, stop. Just double check that it is actually connected. It's quite easy to miss. So it goes to the top, has a little shake, and it comes back down. Goes back to the top, does a shake, and it comes back down. That's actually too much, but we can just come back in here and change these numbers. Let's say 0.05. Too much. Let's actually change this to 0.1. Let's just check the one again. Up to the top, rumble, crash. So, now that we have our moving block, we don't just want one of them, we want a series of them. And how you do that is quite simple. So what you can do, let's select these, and we'll also select this with Control. Let's just double check we've got these selected. Yes, we do. Control and Z, and then we can group these. So now these are all connected. Besides this node. This node is on its own. And we can just duplicate this. Let's do it about there. Do it about there. These can intersect. It doesn't matter, but you can jump quite far in this game, can't you? And we'll get our own start node. And we can connect these all up. However, if we connect them all up now, they're all going to fall at the same time, so we don't want that. We can use delays for this. Just grab one of these. So let's just put in a delay of 1 second. That's fine. Let's on start, activate this. But then we need another one for the next one. Let's do a delay of, let's do 0.5 seconds. We'll just on start, activate both of these. So now these are both start functions with a delay. And then we can connect this up to our original moving down nodes. So it's this one that moves down. You want it to start on the moving down. Let's just make sure we got this right. So now, I got caught. Okay, so the next obstacle will be this disappearing platform here. This one's a little bit more complicated than the others. There's a few nodes here that we haven't used before. It's a simple box trigger volume, which when the player stands inside of this, we can tell it to do something, such as start this movement node. This movement node is purely just for the vibration at the start to indicate that it's going to do something to the player, which then goes to a delay node, which is delayed for 2 seconds. So it jiggles for 2 seconds and then it'll turn into this, which is the visibility node, which is turning the object off. Once it does this, we're also connecting to a collision node, so we can turn off all collisions once this delay runs its time. So we're turning its visibility off, and then we're also turning collisions off. We're not destroying the object because we want the object to come back, and that's where we come to this. So also, when this finishes, we connect into this other delay node, which we have a delay of 5 seconds, which then runs into this, which is another visibility node, which turns it back on, and also turns on collisions, which means the platform will come back. Let's just test this. So it jiggles, that, it disappears, and then we wait a few seconds, and it's back. So if you fail, for example, once it appears back, when you restart, when you spawn back in, you'll be able to jump across again. Because if we destroyed the object, it would no longer be there for the player to jump across again. So we have to turn it back on. Okay, let's move on to actually creating this item. Okay, so here's how you make one of these disappearing platforms. So first off, you want a volume, but instead of the damage volume that we've been using before, we're going to use a box trigger volume. It works in the same way in that it detects when a player enters this box that we're creating here. So you can just drag these out. Now we can use this to make it do something when the player enters that area. So we're going to move on to the move node next to create the vibrations. I'm actually going to grab the one I already have, so I don't have to input any numbers. But just for your sake, keep these numbers low for a vibration. You see this is a 0.07, that's a very low number. Keep the duration low as well at 0.1 or something similar. Make sure it's on ping pong so it doesn't just stop after 0.1 seconds. So now we've got that hooked up, we can actually have the on enter of this volume to start the move node. We have the act on the platform, and then we want to make the platform disappear after a certain amount of time. So we have the delay node, bring that in here, move that just there, that'll do. And then once this has started, so on started on the move node, we're going to start the delay. We're going to have a delay of 2 seconds. And then this delay will then trigger the visibility. The set visibility node. Let's bring that over here. So once this is finished, we're going to activate this. And here we want to change some settings. So this object, once this turns on, we're going to see, is it visible? It is not going to be visible, so we're going to leave it unchecked. But we do want to turn this one on because it is initially visible. Let's just check here. So spawn in effects, we don't need to bother with this because it's not spawning in with this node. We can change the spawn out effect though. So we can put blocks on that so it looks nice. Right, so we can test this. Let's just make sure everything's hooked up. Act on is going to there, that act on is going to there as well. Alright, we are good. Let's just test this out. So when I stand on this, the block should move and then disappear. There we go. But there's still collisions. So that's when we turn these off. Let's get a collision. Set collision node. Let's just bring that in here. So at the same time we want it turned invisible, we want to turn off collisions, which is this middle node here. Set mode none. So the same thing we can do unfinished, set mode none, and now the collisions will be off once I open this interface. Now that will work, but we also want to turn it back on after a certain amount of time. So how we do that is by grabbing another delay node, bring that over here. We'll set this one to 5 seconds or so, and then we want to start this as soon as it goes invisible. So as soon as that timer runs out on the previous delay, it's going to run another delay of 5 seconds and then turn it back on. So what we can do is grab another visibility node. If you press Ctrl D, it'll duplicate the exact node with the exact settings. And all we want to do is turn on is visible, leave that one as it is, spawn in effect, bollocks. And then hook up this on finish to activate on this. And we also want to connect this up on finished set mode collision. And then we have it. Let's check this out. Let's jump on here. It disappears and there's no collisions either. Oh, I actually forgot to check if it came back. So let's jump on here. Let's jump off. And there it is. It's actually still jiggling, so let's see if we can fix that. We actually need this to stop. So once this delay is finished, we could actually stop this happening. So it should no longer jiggle, even when it's not there. Let's just test this again. Jiggle, jiggle, jiggle. Bang. And it's not jiggling. And it jiggles again. Stops. And there you have it. Now with this is a really nice one to group up, because we don't need to select anything else with this. We don't need to hook up to anything else. We can just quickly group this up. And we can create a stamp if we want to. We can duplicate these, so we have a nice section of them. Hit play. And here they are. Jiggle, jiggle, jiggle. Jump across. That's disappeared. Oh, I'm gonna shut that one. Oh, there you go. That's it. Disappearing platforms. You can use this method with any other thing. If you want a bridge, bricks, or part of a bridge, you can create a long piece and then certain pieces fall off. Yeah. We can now move on to the next obstacle. So this obstacle is an arrow that shoots out of a wall when you step in an area. For now, I've got a trigger volume, just item on the floor, it doesn't really matter what it is. You could do a pressure plate, you could do anything you want. This is triggering a gate, which I'll explain more when we get into it, but basically you can allow it to stop function by doing certain things. So for example, when I exit this area, this is now closed, anything going from here to anywhere else will no longer work. But when you go into it, it's automatically open. So I can turn this on and it will do everything that I want it to do. And then it'll close when you leave it, but I can reopen it. So, this moves into a delay, which then moves into a move node, which actually fires the arrow, or whatever object you want it to be, in a certain way. So I've just got this arrow moving from here to here, and attached to it I have a cylinder damage volume, which I've just grouped together in the arrow. But I also need this to actually reset the same way as the platforms did, so it adds a little bit more to it. This is set up the exact same way as the platforms were, using these visibility nodes and delays and collisions. So once this fires, it'll land in here, which then triggers these. So once this movement is finished, I'm telling this delay to start, which is 5 seconds, and then it turns off visibility and turns off collisions. When that happens, I'm actually moving it back to its original position. And then once that is finished, I have another delay of just 1 second, turning visibility back on, and also turning collisions back on. Whilst also, once this finishes, I'm opening this gate, so once you walk back into this area, you can refire the arrow. Let's show you how that one works. So you see the arrow there, stand here, fires the arrow. I see it's not activating again, but it does disappear and respawns. Once that happens, I can fire it again. Can't fire it because the gate is closed. Disappears, reappears. Oh. Fires. There you go. So it's a simple little object, simple little obstacle, but the functioning is a little bit more complex than we did before. Even though it is the same, so you can use this knowledge that we used from the previous platforms here, whilst also learning how to use these gates. So let's get into how we can do this. Okay, let's get started on this. So I've just brought over platform, the volume node, no object underneath it, but I know where it is. You can place anything there, it doesn't need to be groups, it's just whatever you want. I brought over the arrow with the volume attached to it, which is a damage volume. I just used a cylindrical one and just shaped it to the arrow. And we can get started on the next part. First of all, we can get a gate node. Let's bring that in here. And we'll just attach that there. What we actually want to do is on enter, we want to turn this on. So as I said before, the gate is automatically open. We don't need to open it, but we should shut it with the on exit. So when the player leaves this volume, it will close, which means anything that comes after this will no longer work again until we open on the gate. So next, we want a move node to actually move the arrow. I'm just going to grab the one I already had. We also need this delay node. So I'm just going to bring this over as well. This is just a regular delay node, nothing changed, with 0.5 second delay. So once it stands inside this volume, it'll take 0.5 seconds and then it'll fire the arrow. You can change this to whatever. You don't need a delay if you don't want to. It just allows the player time to jump before it fires the arrow, so it's not just instant, because then it wouldn't actually hit the player unless you had the volume right next to where the arrow was going to be. But for this instance, I'm using a delay. So here, on activate, we'll run the delay, and then on finished, we will start the movement, and we will connect the movement of this group of arrows. So this movement is I'm just moving it from left to right. This is going to take trial and error, as we've seen before. That will hit into this wall. No loop on this one, we just want it to stop. And yeah, that should work as intended. Let's test this out quick. Fires the arrow, but it doesn't respawn. So that's when we use what we used before in the platforms to make it disappear. It's very useful once you've created something a bit more simple to make something more complex like this. It's using one function and then we're adding something else to it. So what you can do is actually, if you forget, you can just go back to what you've done and look. Right, so what we have move nodes, we go to a delay, we turn it off, and then we also turn it back on once this delay finishes with a longer delay. So that's what we're going to do again. So we need to get ourselves delay nodes, visibility nodes, collision nodes, and a move node. So I'm going to grab these, bring them over here. So I'm just going to do these so I can show you. So we have a delay of 5 seconds. So once it actually ends in this location, we want it to wait 5 seconds so it doesn't just instantly disappear. So how we do that would be by on finished of the movement of the arrow, start the delay. And once this delay finishes, we want to turn off visibility. So initial visibility, yes. Is visible, no. Spawn out effect, blocks, act on. Let's click on the arrow. And then we also want the same to turn off collisions. So I've just done on finished to set mode, non act on to the arrow. Yeah. This little error will pop up because it's a group. We need this to be a group, otherwise the collision wouldn't move. So if we group the volume with the block, we will get the movement at the same time. But this doesn't matter. We're not applying physics. We're applying collisions, which will apply. So just confirm that. And then we actually want it to move back to its original position. So if we have a look at our move node, we have it move 8 on the y-axis. So on this move node, it's already set up, -8. So you just do a negative of what your previous one was, and it'll take it back to where it started. So we'll just put an act on here. So also, we can do an unfinished start. So as soon as this finishes, it goes invisible, collisions get turned off, and it moves back to the start. And then we want another delay. Let's put this down to just 1 second. Another visibility. Let's turn this one on. So this will be visible. Let's just connect that up. Make sure spawning effects is on. On finished, we can turn it on. We'll turn on collisions. We activate this. On finished. Yep. So once the movement is finished, it'll set the delay and it'll turn back. And then we need to open the gate. So once this delay is finished, we can actually also move this to the function open on our gate. So we have a lot of lines going across our screen. It does just get a little bit confusing. But like I said, always just go back to what you've made before and reference it. Just see how you did it before. I can just go over to one of these and understand again how I made this platform invisible and revisible. I didn't use gates here, but that's a new function we're adding in. Let's just test this out. So, I walk over to the spot, fires my arrow, can't fire it again. It disappears for 5 seconds and it reappears. Fire the arrow. I can't fire it again. And there you go. And now what you can do with that, you can group them all together and move these things out of the way for a second so I don't select anything weird. I'm going to select everything besides the volume. I can group this up. Now, I could use whatever I wanted. So I could actually replace this object with, well, I'll just delete this. Let's get a brush there. Put that on here. So on step on, activate it, on step off, we close it. This will work exactly the same way as our volume did. You could use any other object and then use a volume as well, or just on step on, fires the thing, can't activate it again, disappears, reappears, and I can fire it again. So it works the exact same way, it can be anything you want. And then I can place these. If I did want this again, just, I think I accidentally unselected everything, but I still duplicated it. So I could place that one again. Yeah. The reason why I didn't use pressure plate is because it's too obvious. I preferred it to be a bit more subtle. So the player is not necessarily going to notice this little button on the floor, which is just acting as a button, and then it's just using the volume to actually trigger it. Yeah, and that's that. Okay, so now we have a set of obstacles. We can actually start getting a little layout together. I've just put some big blocks in a way that will lead us from obstacle to obstacle. So each one of these large ones is almost like a little safe zone for the player. We have a spawn point over here, which you can just add in, and we can start moving our way across down here. So we've already got our swinging axes in, we've got our door. I've moved over my platforms, which will go backwards and forwards. Then the player comes over here, which then they face the crushing blocks. And then they'll come over here where we have our disappearing platforms. Like I said, when you group these, you can just click on any of these and it'll count as one. I can just duplicate, move where I want. And there we go. Same with this. I can duplicate these up. Let's have 4 of these. You can have them as you want. Let's separate these ones out so there's a little bit more challenge. I'm going to jump across these parts. You may need to tweak things, they're just too easy or too hard. But for now, we have what we have. We have a bunch of pre-created assets that we've made ourselves. And we've created a little course that we can run through. So, another thing that I haven't covered yet is actually dying by falling off. Currently I've just been falling off and just running around. It just helps when you're testing that you're not just dying all over the time. But what you can do is just create a little damage volume, have it to kill you instantly, and you can have it placed wherever you want. I've just got this like this. You can't make them too large, so you just have to create a few of these. Let's just duplicate these across. So now we've got a bunch of kill volumes. Make sure that's like that. But landing on grass also seems a bit weird, so we can find some assets that we want. We could have water, we could have lava. Let's just scale this up. Let's zoom out a bit. Oh, that's big. A bit too big actually. Might also need to make a few adjustments to this. There we go, now we've got a little lava lake that we go across. It looks a bit funny on the outside because it's just a cube, but that's very easy to fix when you get into actually designing your world. So we can go into packs, and let's have a look. Canyon, natural. Let's have a look. We've got some boulders here. Boulder XXL. Let's get that in here. Just grab one of these. Spin around a bit. Oops, I need to do that. We can get boulder. Whoa, that one's big. Maybe a bit too big. Let's just spin this one around. Here. Maybe this one's too small now. We also don't want the player to be able to climb all over them and get out of bounds. So we'll just keep them out of range. Still quite too large, isn't it? But we can just play around that. You can just duplicate this. Let's do some rotations. Let's turn off the snapping. Let's make it a bit smaller. Rotate a bit more. So it's sticking out around like that. Let's bring this one up. Spin to the other side. So it's not obvious. And quite quickly, we have a nice little wall to our area. So now we can hit play and test out our game. So our swinging axes. Let's get past these. Whoa! Got hit. Spawn me back at the start. Let's get across here. Let's get across these platforms quick. Oh no! You might need to adjust the delays on those. Oh, I think there might be a duplicate in there, so. Yeah. Well, that's something we can go back and fix after. Right, disappearing platforms. Okay, that's 1, that's 2, that's 3, and 4. They might be too easy, you might need to separate them some more. We could even add some movement to them, like those moving platforms. We could give them a slight little move to the side, nothing too extreme, however you like. But again, just go back, have a look at how you did that, and apply it to this. So now, we've got these arrows. Oh, got me. Alright, so now you've set up your obby with all your obstacles in place. You would probably want to set up checkpoints, so if you die at any point during this, you don't lose all your progress at the start at the beginning. So here's how you can do that. So what we have here is a player spawn point, which you should have at the start, and then we also have a box trigger volume, which we just scale to whatever size we need. Where we connect this to a get player ID node. So what this does is when this triggers, when the player enters this volume, it will get the player ID and the reference. On push enter an actor reference, we can give that to the player ID, and then when the player when this has got the player ID, we trigger this, which is a set player checkpoint node. This activates this, it gives this the ID, and then we use this event act on to plug into our player spawn point. Now, this is just one, but we have another one set up over here. So it's the exact same setup, however, in our checkpoint, we have an ID of 1. You can set this whatever you want, but it just matches the spawn point that you want. So this one over here doesn't have an ID, we've left these blank. And we've also turned on initial spawn point. Whereas here we've turned it off and it has an ID of 1, matching the checkpoint node. So when the player enters this volume and they die after it, they'll come back to this point. If we wanted to add another checkpoint, we will just do the same thing. Let's just grab over our nodes. Let's bring it over to the next point we want. Just there. Should probably make the volume a bit bigger, so just do that. Just to make sure that the player definitely stands inside this volume. Okay. So now I'll just delete these so I can show you exactly what you need to do. So on enter, get player ID, and then we also want on push entering actor reference, give that set actor reference of the get player ID node, and then we send the player ID reference over to the set player checkpoint node, and then on get player ID, we also activate this, and then act on, move it over to the spawn point. Now we need to make sure these IDs are linked up. So this is still 1 because I duplicated it, but we can change this to 2. Change this one to 2 as well, and now we have another checkpoint. So let's just jump in here. So we have our regular spawn. Let's run over here. Oh, I fell off. My kill volume. Spawns me back at the start. Let's just get to the other side. Now, I'm inside this volume. Let's jump off. I need to adjust some of those volumes, but it worked. We're now at the second checkpoint. Let's now get all the way over. Oh no! Well, let's try that one again. These are a little bit tough. I think I didn't actually put one here. It's on the next one. Let's just get across these. Don't know if we're going to make this. Whoa. Alright, there we go. This was our third checkpoint. And we can test this. Falling off. And here we are. Third checkpoint. So it's quite a simple setup. Just using the player spawn, adding in the checkpoint, and getting the ID from a volume, or any other way you want to. And just make sure you've got your ID set up. then you can group these and move them wherever you want. And there you go, you have checkpoints. Now that you have your obstacles all laid out as you wish, and you have checkpoints working, you can start to decorate, you can start to move things around, add a few different elements to your game, and you're ready to publish. Thank you guys for watching, and I hope this has been helpful. See you later.
Time for a new world. Let's build it together.